Okay, so I thought it might be interesting to try and record a video of a literal trip down memory lane. This is Ipswich, the town that I grew up. Here's the River Orwell, and I'm in Google Earth VR. So I've got my headset in, and I can see the town as if I'm, however many 1,000 feet up in the air. Here just below me, I think you can see the railway station, and then across the bridge there's Portman Road football ground where Ipswich Town Football Club play, and here's a building where there's an insurance company. It used to be Guardian Royal Exchange, and that's where I worked after I failed my A-levels. I came back to live in Ipswich for a year, and I worked in that building on one of the top floors in the finance department. Right, so it's all bringing back lots of memories, and kind of know my way around quite well, even though I haven't been back to Ipswich that many times in the following years. So I think if we go, there's the Willis Faber building. That's another insurance company with a very famous. The whole building is made of glass, and there's the Wolsey Theatre. Now, if we turn left at this roundabout, we can head off towards the village just outside Ipswich where I grew up. So turn left here, and this is Brantford Road that goes down to Brantford, which is the small village in the countryside. It was when I grew up. Lots of memories coming back as I come down here. I think it was this building over here where I used to go to a playgroup when I was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years old. So this is really in Ipswich. And then somewhere down this road on the left hand side there was a piece of waste ground, or piece of empty land. Maybe it's filled up with new buildings now. Where they used to have the fun fair and the circus would come to this place. Maybe it's this field over here. Maybe it's gone. Maybe it's just the new buildings on there now. And the fun fair and the circus used to sometimes come there, and I remember going to see a circus in this area where there's a very famous clown, and there was a parade up here actually. I think they even had elephants in the parade. Maybe I'm just making that up. I've got a dim memory of that. But most of the time we wouldn't venture this far into the big town. And even when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, this area about here would be as far as I dare venture on my own. There was a garden centre here, and one of the girls at my school, their parents used to run that garden centre, I think. And wouldn't really come up here. This is quite a long way for a kid to walk, but sometimes we used to walk up to this place here, because round about here there was a sweet shop where you could buy sweets that you couldn't get in the other sweet shops, so that was quite a good place to go to. Okay, so then under the railway bridge, and this was when you came into my village, Brantford, and this used to be a petrol station, a little old school garage, and it used to sell all kinds of paraffin. It had a sign outside selling paraffin, and it used to sell petrol. And I remember this is where I learned about the numbers 4 and 5, because they used to have 4-star petrol, and they'd actually have a picture with 4 stars on it, and at that time when I was just learning about numbers I couldn't always tell the difference between 4 and 5 stars. couldn't always tell. And this here is the River Gipping, which runs through Brantford, and there's the church. And we used to often go for walks down by the river, and one time when I was, I don't know if I was 6 years old, something like 7, 6, I nearly drowned in that spot over there. Somebody had dug a trench in the river, and I had just learned to swim, and I was swimming in the river along with quite a lot of other people who'd come down on a sunny day, and suddenly there was no ground underneath me and I sunk beneath the water. So that was probably one of the first times I could have died, but luckily enough I didn't. So I remember going to that church, and I mean, we didn't attend church, but the church was quite a big part of the community. My school was associated with that church, so we'd go sometimes. And over here, I don't know if they still have it, but that was where the scout hut was. So I spent some time as a member of the Cubs. Not very long actually, I didn't fit in very well in the Cubs. And this is the main street. There used to be a pub here called the Cock, I think. It's not here anymore, maybe. Maybe it's just here. Yeah, this could be it. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a look in Street View. Yeah, the Cock, you see, the Brantford Cock. That's named for a pub. And here there was like a newsagents, where I used to also get sweets and some other little bits and bobs. And when I would go to school in the morning, I used to live in this direction. I'd come up here and I'd go up this path, this little path, and this playing field is a school field for the primary school. So I used to go into the primary school here. This is where I went to primary school. So my first day at school was in this building here. That's where the infants used to go. And this was where we had our playtime, in this playground here. Later on, I stayed in this village until I was about 10 years old, so I was in all of these classrooms at different times. Eventually, when I was getting towards the top class, I was in Mrs. Leary's class. It was that building there, and then here's the assembly hall. I remember the first day of school, Mr. Wimpress was the head teacher, and he said his motto was "Do as you're told, as soon as you're told, and everything will be all right." Great motto. So yeah, I used to come to school this way. I used to go down this path. I'll take you to the house where I used to live. So this is the main street in Brantford, and I used to live just along this road. I think there was a supermarket here, a Spar. That wasn't there when I first grew up, but it opened a bit later on. I think Terry Wogan was actually there and opened it. And there used to be a chip shop up here somewhere, which was very nice. And there were some nice shops down here. There was an old school baker's around about here, where they used to bake lovely bread. There's another newsagents or general store somewhere around here. This used to be a post office, and I used to live a couple of doors down from the post office. So this is the little house where I grew up. It was one of these two, and it looks a bit jagged from this low angle, but it's quite interesting if you go up in the sky. Looking down, I think that's the one that I used to live in. There was a fire in the house when I was a little boy, and the next door neighbour came in and rescued me. And I think my bedroom would have been this one here, and I used to look out. The sparrows would nest in this area and congregate on the telephone wires. There are lots of memories that come back, because around this corner here there didn't used to be houses, there used to just be an empty sort of lot there where there was burned out barn or something, and I used to go and catch grasshoppers there. And yeah, sometimes we used to me and my brother used to go and play with our friends. We used to go down this road here and then meet up with some of our friends in this general direction. You could go down, get down to the river. Went fishing there. Tried to go fishing when I was a little boy, but I never caught anything. I got lots of problems with like line hooks getting tangled up with the trees. But we would generally go down in this direction because over here was the recreation ground where there was football pitches. There still is a football pitch there now. And when we were kids, there wasn't any tennis courts there or bowling green, but there was a football pitch in this area, and there's actually some sort of building over here. So we played a lot of football around there and spent really quite a lot of time playing out here. In those days, kids used to go out quite a lot and spend a lot of time on their own. So that's about it. I'm just going to take you out of Brantford now towards the bypass. Just remember the walk that I used to go on with my mum. Mum used to take us for nice long walks, and we sometimes used to go down the river here. We would often start our walks going across this rickety old bridge. Still looks rickety now. And we'd walk along here. And actually I remember standing on this bridge on firework night several times, because we didn't have our own fireworks, but we used to watch the other fireworks going off in the village on November the 5th. Anyway, we used to walk down here sometimes, and it's a bit sad because I think when we got into this direction there used to be some beautiful woods by the railway line here on a bit of a hill, and there was bluebells in the woods there, but it looks as if there's been some kind of development and there are lots of kind of lakes and things there now. Still looks nice leisure place, but the old woods seem to have gone, or they've been, cut right down. So, hopefully that's an interesting video, shows you whereabouts I grew up.